Hi, Nicole. How are you?
Hey, how are you?
Good, good. I was
Good to
just,
see
we
you.
just launched. We're halfway through this amazing weekend of over 150 plus speakers, and we were really excited to connect with Jenaria in Kenya, and it looked pretty promising at the start, but then it looked like everything froze up on us.
Yeah, me too. I was really looking forward to that. And I was kind of thinking to myself as I saw his beautiful blue sky behind him, and I look out at mine, it really is a small world,
Yeah, absolutely,
you
no
know?
question. I mean, who knows what's going to happen in the next half hour? Maybe it could end up being a little hybrid session where we
There you
all come
go.
in together. Who knows? Um, all right. Well, let me give you a nice proper introduction. So we have Nicole Stott joining us. She's explored from the heights of outer space to the depths of our oceans. A veteran NASA astronaut, her experience includes 2 space flights and 104 days living and working in space on both the space shuttle and the International Space Station. So a personal highlight of Nicole's space flight was painting the first watercolor in space. As an artist, now retired from NASA, she combines her artwork and spaceflight experience to inspire creative thinking about solutions to our planetary challenges, to raise awareness about the interplay between science and art, and to promote amazing work being done every day to improve our life right here on our planet. She's also the founder of the Space for Art Foundation. So, Nicole, always a pleasure to steal some of your time hanging out down in Florida. It's great to see you.
Yeah, it's great to see you too, Joe. And I'm really happy to be back here and thankful that you would include me in number two after having participated in number one, and hopeful that this festival will, that we won't be able to count the numbers. I think it's so wonderful to bring everyone like this together and just to hear these different stories and to challenge ourselves, not only to challenge ourselves, but to really be in awe of the amazing work that's going on to solve these problems. So thanks for including me.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, no question. We love your voice and what you have to say, especially as someone who has looked at taking it all in, right? You've taken it all in. You've seen that thin blue layer. You know what it's all about. If only everybody could see that, I think it would change a lot of perspectives.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm happy to share it, and I think the way I present comes off a little bit different than what we'll hear from the other speakers, but hopefully it kind of wraps it maybe in that thin blue line, and we can think about it from that view from space. So I'm really looking forward to sharing some thoughts with you guys today.
All right, let's go for it. Let's do a screen
Okay.
share. This can be an adventure sometimes, but I have a
I
feeling
know. That's
I have
where
a
I have
feeling
my one of my greatest challenges. All right, let's see. Okay, screen share. I'm going to narrate all the way through.
fair enough.
Share screen. Should I just go entire screen? Is that
Yeah,
good?
yeah, that's the
Okay.
best for a nice full screen.
All right. Let's do that. Share.
Here it comes.
All right. Okay, you getting it?
Yeah, I
Yep.
think you
Okay.
I
All right,
think you
let me
just have to click on the presentation and go full screen.
All right, how'd that work?
We got it. Piece of
Okay.
cake.
All
Nicole,
right.
do you want to hit down at the bottom? You can see the bar and it says hide down at the bottom.
Oh, excellent. Yeah.
Yeah, let's get that out of there.
Okay. And then I'll move did we go back to having everything in the view though? Let's do
Yeah,
this.
you've just got to, yeah, if you click on the space station again, it should come back.
Okay. Gotcha. There. How's
Yeah,
that?
beautiful.
Yeah, I did actually function on a space station. So I know when you see me on my computer, but anyway, I hope that you're seeing this gorgeous view of the International Space Station on the screen. Um, as Joe mentioned, I had the opportunity to spend a little over 3 months living and working on the ISS. And I'll just tell you, best example of living off the grid that you can find. It is a masterpiece in space. It's beautiful, and it is one of the most complex things that humanity has ever built together. And it's this mechanical life support system that we've built in space to mimic as best we can what Earth does for us naturally. And like our planet and its thin blue line of atmosphere, that thin metal hull of the space station is the only thing between its crew, between us and the deadly vacuum of space. And, we build this life support system in space so that we humans, we fleshy ones, can live and work there. And for over 20 years now, we've had crews living and working together peacefully and successfully on the space station, representing 5 international space agencies and over 15 different countries. I think just a wonderful example of how we could be living and working together as crewmates here on Spaceship Earth. As humans, we enjoy our time in this wonderful microgravity environment, as you can see, but we also trust that we'll have each other's back, that we'll always have each other's back when things don't go as planned. And every day, because of that, every day we are acutely aware of the health and well-being of all of our crewmates. Now, in the microgravity environment of the space station, we can take gravity out of the equation, which allows us to look at things very differently. It allows us to learn more about all areas of science that we thought we knew a lot about already. We have a motto, off the Earth, for the Earth. And we are honored as crews up there to be part of the work on the space station that's ultimately all about improving life on Earth. And I can tell you, every day we are acutely aware of how much clean drinking water we have. We are thankful for the opportunity to share our mostly sterile space station environment with other life as well. We are deliberate about appreciating and protecting it while it's there. And this is working on one of the many plant experiments that we have on board the station. I can tell you every crew member just is in awe of having the chance to work with them, to harvest them, to learn more about them. But we also, every day, are acutely aware of the amount of CO2 that's in our atmosphere. Every day, we are acutely aware, and I'm going to keep using that phrase because I think it's a distinction. We are acutely aware of everything that's necessary for us to survive. And in all the complexity, all the complexity of getting to space, of just living and working there for even a short period of time, and then returning safely home to our planet at the end of the mission, we all seem to be most impacted by the simple lessons that we learn from the experience. And for me, those 3 simple lessons, which we all learn at a very young age, and somehow they drop out of our consciousness, are: we live on a planet, we are all Earthlings, and the only border that matters is that thin blue line of atmosphere that blankets and protects us all. Now, every day in space, we are in awe of the reality of these 3 simple lessons of planet, Earthlings, and thin blue line. We take every chance we can find to have them beautifully in our face through the windows of our spaceship. This is Florida from space. It's where I am right now. When we're up there, we are looking for the places that we're familiar with, that we think of as home. I grew up in Florida. I'm back here now. I wanted to see Florida from space. We also seek out ways to get our brains wrapped around, really wrapped around the things that can seem to make no sense to us too. Like my crewmate Al here in this picture, he is crawling along the bottom of the space station, so 250, 300 miles above the planet. But Al has no sense of up or down. He doesn't get a sense of falling back to Earth. He feels like he is crawling along the floor. Appreciating the opportunity to discover pyramids and other well-known landmarks from the vantage point of space was a special treat, I can tell you. And then getting to know the geography of our planet. I'm going to go back one here. The geography of our planet, the character of our planet by just the patterns even. The patterns of a desert that lets you know that you're looking at Africa and not Australia. The patterns of the ocean that present this translucent, I don't know why I'm going twice, Joe, it's me. The patterns of the ocean that present this translucent, iridescent, crystal clear shades of blue that I felt like I actually had never even seen before. And then every glimpse out the window sharing some new surprise. A naturally heart-shaped island like this one in the Red Sea. It made me think that, God must have a wonderful sense of humor, and that these places were meant for us to discover and to be in awe of. A salt lake in Australia that reminded me of a Georgia O'Keeffe painting. And as you can tell, for me, looking at Earth became a lot like looking at a work of art, which I believe it is. And this tiny chain of islands on the northern coast of Venezuela called Las Rocas, it looked to me like somebody had reached their hand down with a ginormous paintbrush and painted a wave on the ocean. And this one picture, my favorite, I can tell you, from space, became my inspiration for my own artwork and how I wanted to share the spaceflight experience. And while we're on that space station, we are circling the Earth at 17,500 miles an hour. That's one orbit every 90 minutes, which means we would experience a sunrise or sunset out the window every 45 minutes. And each of these sunrises or sunsets, they always started and ended with a line of blue, reminding us that, just how thin this veil of protection, of protective atmosphere of our planet really is. And back to Florida, another view of Florida from space, this time sticking into the screen from the right side. And for the longest time, I looked at Florida. I wanted to see Florida as my home. But very quickly after arriving to space, I started to think of Florida as this special part of a planet that's my home. And it seems that, and I get this sense from all the stories I hear at this festival, is that, even when we're right here on the planet, but even, no matter where we travel as humans ourselves, or even with our robots, we're always looking for this connection back to ourselves. This is a picture from a Cassini spacecraft. It's showing us more about Saturn. We learned all kinds of things about Saturn, but we also discovered ourselves again in this research. And that's us, this little dot of light below its rings. We want to better understand that relationship of who and where we are. And I think that, there's no better reminder of who and where we all are together than this iconic Earthrise image that was taken by the Apollo 8 crew back in 1968. It's a view of our planet in space rising above the horizon of another planetary body, our moon. It very clearly, to me, shares the three lessons of planet, Earthlings, and thin blue line. And I hope that you'll look at this image and you'll think about the sessions over these couple days and know that if we behave like crewmates, we have the power to create a future for all life on this planet that's as beautiful as it looks from space. Thank you. All right, Joe.
Did pretty good.
I mean, all right.
We had a couple double slides, but I think I think what happens is when you're on board some of the most technologically advanced things humanity has ever done, then the little things just seem, not as exciting. It's easy to make little mistakes.
So how do I stop share? I just hit stop screen down below, or?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. I tucked it out of the call anyway. So
it's all right, cool. Look at you. You're the man. All right.
There we go. Awesome.
Joe, it might just be that I'm getting old and I just can't.
I don't think so. I love that perspective. I mean, being able to see the Earth that way, you left wanting to see Florida and then came back realizing that, it's all your home. Those country lines just don't mean so much anymore.
No, and honestly, I know it's a really simple way to think about it, but that idea of border, of thin blue line, of, looking at, the skies we saw on both screens earlier, and I think we look up and we get this sense that that it goes on forever. It's just doing its job. It goes on forever. We're standing on this planet that's spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, and yet we just feel like we're here. And so in some ways, I think that that kind of puts us in this place of where we can get a little bit too locked into, having the blinders on sometimes. And I love that, what's coming through all of these presentations in this festival too, is that I don't think you have to go to space to appreciate everything I just presented here. I mean, there is awe and wonder surrounding us everywhere. And there's also things that we might not like to see, but we need to, and we need to be affected by them equally as much as the awe and wonder that then causes us to take the action that's necessary. So I'm very thankful to be part of this today, but also to just really be, I guess, appreciative of the work that's going on with everyone else that's here as well.
Yeah, absolutely. The space station, it's not just humans on there at all times. There are some biological kind of experiments that happen. When you spent some time there, was there any interesting things going on? Maybe trying to grow some plants or working with bacteria, something?
Yeah, all of the above. Yeah. I think the plants thing for me, though, it's one of the most interesting scientifically. I think it seems very simple. It almost has kind of a science fair project feel to it. When you look at the plant, oh, we're going to grow plants. How complicated can that be? But it is. And when we're thinking about establishing our presence, on other planets, going back to the moon, these are the kinds of things at a very basic human level, survival level, that we have to figure out, right?
Yeah.
And so, so there's that side of it, kind of the science. Here's what we need to do to figure out how to survive. But there's also I think, comfort in having a bit of nature around you, of appreciating, the greenness, on those plants that I worked with, they were tiny little Arabidopsis flowers, like little baby's breath kind of flowers. And I was surprised that type of flower is one that we can learn so much about the way the nutrition, to the plant happens, the way the growth of the plant happens. It was just like this tiny, beautiful little piece of nature there with us. And so anytime I could handle it was awesome. And now on the space station, I mean, they've got this veggie experiment where they literally have pallets of red leaf lettuce and other things growing, tomatoes, and again, seems so simple, and yet they're allowed to eat it now too. They don't just have to harvest it and freeze it and send it to the ground. But yeah, it's there's the science, but I think there's the human side of it too that really, and it makes you want to go to that window and have that connection again to the planet as this big, beautiful, glowing, connection to who and where we are, reminder of how all of this, even that tiny little Arabidopsis plant is so interconnected to everything else.
That just hearing you tell that story, it must have been so frustrating at the time when they couldn't eat that nice fresh produce. They had to freeze it and send it back to Earth.
Yeah, it's great. I think there was always the attempt, hey, can we just have one tomato? Can we just eat one leaf? Yeah,
that's awesome. And I imagine after an extended period of time on board the space station, a relatively sterile environment, it must have just been a little bit of sensory overload back on the ground and back.
Yeah, it's incredible how our bodies and our brains adapt quickly to these new environments. Which is a good thing, and then there's also the bad side of it. Like, okay, it's adapting, so it knows it doesn't need bones or muscles to get around. So it doesn't use any energy to maintain that in any way, but we've figured out how to counteract it. But yeah, there's something about, like you said, that kind of sterile, everything's unscented. That's why opening up, a plant container, just this like, oh my gosh, that's dirt, that's nature in some way. That's not just the smell of your crewmates, that's a different kind of nature, right? And looking out the window at Earth, you see all those colors of it, right? You see the greens, the blues. You have these memories of what like salt air smells like, and fresh air flowing across your body feels like and smells, all of those things. And yet it's like you're watching it with all those senses turned off except for, what you can see.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, the hatch opens up. I flew on the space shuttle both times. The hatch opens up and just this rush of air flows in. And my first landing was at the end of November. It was like the day after Thanksgiving, and it was crisp and cool and sunny outside, and all those things that you expect it to feel like really do. They rushing back is a great way to say it. Overload is a way to say it, and then it becomes normal again. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I'm just noticing that Generia is back in, and I was watching their video for a little bit and it was looking pretty good. So I think if they get the video back on, that we should bring them in and maybe just continue this conversation.
Yeah, wonderful.
Sounds all right. Good. Very cool. So Generia and Toby, if you're able to get the video back on, let's bring you back in. We'll bring you in with Nicole Stott and we can have a little conversation.
I love that they got back up and connected. That's great.
I hope so. It seems like it'll hold for a few minutes and then it goes out on us again. I am going to try to get him on WhatsApp. Hopefully they can still see my typing. I know it's going to pop up in the whole chat, but I'm going to do it anyways because I want to see if we can get them. If I can remember my phone number. There we go.
Well, I love, Joe, too, that you talked about, I'm just going to talk while you're...
Yeah, go for it.
While you talked about having, like over 50 countries represented in the festival this time. And I just wanted to point this suit behind me, because I think it's a very complimentary kind of thing that's happening with this festival, that's happening with the work that all of the people participating in this are doing, is that we figure out this way to come together, right? And, the suit behind me is one of the art space suits that we've done with the Space for Art Foundation. And this one actually includes artwork from children in hospitals, refugee centers in over 50 countries as well. Awesome. And was quilted together by our real spacesuit company that made the suit I even did my spacewalk in on station. And I'm very thankful to you, Joe, in this community, and that you're reaching out to help us with our new suit that's called Beyond, where we are hopeful to get at least one per piece of art from one child in every country on the planet. I think we're up to 140 now, which is incredible to me. And that suit, we are very happy. We were invited to participate with it as kind of an ambassador to COP26 in November. So working with groups like ActionAid and the Sustainability Hub and some others to show these children's work in that way too. And then we cross our fingers, because we can never promise, that hopefully one day we'll be able to fly that suit on the space station like we have a couple of our others as well.
Yeah, so I'm sharing the link there.
Oh, thank you.
The Space for Art Foundation. So anybody tuning in right now, if with your kids want to submit some art, so it's their vision of Earth, right? Like our place in the universe.
Yeah, just think about Earth as part of the universe, and anything that comes to their minds is what they can paint or draw. And all we need is a picture of it, and then we'll actually be printing it out this time to include on the suit.
Perfect. Well, I do have 2 more submissions for you that came in this week, so I'll send them your way. One's from the Seychelles, and I'm not sure where the other one is, but I'll send them your way.
Excellent.
All right.
Yeah.